Welcome to the Stronger Leader podcast, home of the hashtag Stronger movement, where we explore the fascinating tapestry of human experience. I'm your host, Tony Cardello. Each episode, we'll sit down with a remarkable guest to dive into their unique journeys, from successful business leaders to individuals who have faced the darkest of times and emerged stronger, even from some of the inspiring youth of this emerging generation. We'll also cover essential topics on marriage, leadership, as well as spiritual, physical, and mental health, all in hopes to provide you with the tools and motivation to navigate your own life's challenges. Whether you're here to learn, grow, or simply be inspired, there's something for everyone. So get comfy, settle in, and join us as we embark upon this journey together. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well. Turn on the notifications so you'll know whenever we drop new content. All right, let's get started.
Okay, right there.
Oh, there you go. You're back. Okay, cool. All right, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Welcome to another episode of the Stronger Leader podcast. I'm with my man, David Ruiz. What up, Dave?
What up, Tony? I appreciate the opportunity, Tony. It's going to be a fire podcast, brother.
For sure. We got, man, this is cool. I'm really excited about this one. This is only our second one we've had on, or third one we've had on this remote show. So we're, it's really given us an ability to reach out a little further and talk to, because there's a lot of good people all over this world, man. And not everybody can come over to my basement and get on the podcast. So this makes it good. I'm super stoked about this. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. And, what's cool is I've been having this like desire to get on and just call you and talk to you. And I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to waste the conversation for be a good combo for the podcast. Cause really, man, all I've been doing is just connecting with people on here and getting to know. I'm a relational person. So what a better place. And I was just telling the last guy that was on, what's really cool. I stumbled upon this being like a secondary cool thing, but I'm hard of hearing. So I wear hearing aids and I enjoy conversations. I enjoy talking to people and getting to know people. And my wife will ask me, hey, do you want to go to dinner with people? I'm like, man, I really don't know that person. I don't know their tone of their voice very well. So I'm not in tune with it. And if I turn my hearing aids up in a restaurant setting, everything else gets louder too. And so it's physically exhausting to try to have a conversation with somebody that I've never talked to before because I don't know their voice. Well, these headphones, it's crystal clear. It's all the other noises. There's no, the sound's blocked out. It's just me and you chatting and I can hear clearly. And so I've really found like a cool intimacy in this where I've really gotten to know people on a deeper level and connected. And it's been fun. I've been having a lot of fun with that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I've been saving our conversation to get to know each other for this, man, because I figured this would be a great time to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't you, my man Travis Lizar, man, he's a man of many connections, right? He's always putting good people together, and so that's one of his knacks, right? And he's hooked us up, and I've been following you now, and I love what you represent, what you're about, everything. I think you represent all the same things that I do, and we're equally yoked in what we're trying to accomplish in this world. And so I'm anxious to get to know a little bit about you and kind of how this all came about. So why don't you do that, man? For our listeners, just tell everybody who you are. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, where you came from. It's your stage, man. Share your story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Tony, and huge shout out to Travis. I knew when he connected us, that's his gift, and he has this power to have people gravitate towards him, and he knows how to connect good people. So when he said, "Hey, you gotta, talk with my boy Tony," I was like, it's just, I know it's going to be a good connection.
Yeah, you're like, yes, I want.
Yeah, I'm like, link us up, man. And obviously I've been following you and we have very similar views and I think we hold a responsibility to ourselves and to the people around us that I really admire. And I just want to give you a huge shout out, Tony. I know you're starting off, but man, you're flowing so organically with this podcast. Like if you told me that you've been doing it for 2 years, I'd believe you. Yeah. So, huge shout out to that, Tony. And about myself, if I had to put it in an elevator speech, I am a man that has learned a lot through life, through trials and tribulations, through putting myself on the deep end, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily through life. A man that has found himself through those dark times. And now I am a person that takes the responsibility to want to go and help and teach others and coach others. I am a fitness coach. I am a life coach. I am a consultant in the construction industry. I've literally lived the movie. I've gone from, living and being stuck in Medellin, Colombia, and lived there for 3 months, to working for Google, to I also record music, to having one of the top songs in, Central and South America during COVID. Like I'm a man of different phases. I'm a family man. I have 2 children, and I'm a servant. I'm a coach. I'm a learner. I'm a teacher. And more than anything, connect to a higher power that has allowed me to be able to have this power that I'm able to help people. And I take that very seriously. And it's very fulfilling for me to be able to help people. I was born in Oakland, California. I was raised in the Bay Area up to about middle school. And then I would say my home base that's where my roots started. And then from there, I lived quite a bit of time in Stockton, California. And that gave me a whole different set of challenges just from your environment, the street culture, and really putting me in situations where I had to get out and really either forcefully or me being able to see that this environment's going to get me nowhere. And really having I had my daughter. So the mother of my children, she got pregnant at 18. So I had to grow up really fast. And obviously an environment like that was an environment that I didn't want my daughter to live in or grow up in. Yeah, I think the first time I carried my daughter was when I realized I got to get out of here. I got to see something bigger. I got to do something bigger. And then kind of that's just where the story started. And I just, throughout the years from 19 to now, I've been able to dive deeper into my calling and being able to really figure out who I am and what my purpose is. And throughout the years, that has allowed me to get to the point where I am now, where I've made many mistakes and learned from them and try to dive into why. More than anything, I'm very like hyper analytic, and I like to analyze and figure out the root cause to everything. And what better place to start than with yourself, to figure out, what makes you tick, what motivates you, what aggravates you, what makes you want to jump in front of a bullet for somebody, and really start to kind of embrace that, and then get to a point now where I'm able to coach people and I'm able to teach people that.
Oh, that's great, man. That's awesome. Well, I love that. So when you'd mentioned a higher power, are you a Christian, or what's your belief system?
So I am at a point, Tony, where I've never really been a fan of labels. I do tend to find myself going more towards Christianity. I tend to be able to, it just feels familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up Catholic, so in a way it's very similar. But Christianity, I think, because I've known people that are Christian, that I'm able to, it's more familiar, right? But I find beauty in all religion, to be honest. I've had friends that are Muslim. I have friends that are Christian, that are Catholic, that are Mormon. And I think if you take from those religions the right things, the righteous things, the things that are better for humanity, I think every religion has little bits that you can learn from. So I like to stay open to a higher power, whether you call it Jesus, whether you call it God, the creator. I'm still in that journey, but definitely know that I'm tapped into something that protects me, that gives me the power to keep moving forward. But I would say definitely Christianity is what I feel the most familiar with and feels, close to me.
Yeah, yeah. So me too. I'm a devout Christian. That's the truth that I know, and that's just it. It's the truth that I know, and it doesn't mean that it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm pretty sure it's right, but I mean, I guess it could be wrong, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but my stronger acronym is spiritual, trustworthy, resilient, open-minded, noble, genuine, encouraging, and relentless. And, the S being the first letter of that entire word, being spiritual, it's just so happened it wasn't intentionally to be that way, and not C for Christianity, but C, so you can't spell stronger with C. So, I just think that it is so important. And if somebody doesn't have a spiritual belief and they're seeking, I would teach them the truth that I know, right?
Yeah.
But if someone's on a path that, like, I was in prison for years, and one of my close friends in prison was the imam, the head of the Muslims. And I think that what I have found, you get outside of the legalistic and radical belief systems within each religion, and you get into the good, wholesome ones. I think the one element that exists through all of the, number one, I think everybody's God is God for the most part.
Yeah.
And then the other key element that is always present is love. And I think that if you could build your foundation off of that and learning how to love, because from love comes humility and, just a lot of other things. Right. But the springboard for everything I've found has been in love. So yeah, I'm with you on that. That's cool. Okay, so tell me, and you may have said this. I was trying to absorb as much as I could there. When you grew up in Oakland, Oakland has notoriously been, full of streets and crime and a lot of other stuff good too. But obviously, me growing up on the streets, I know of L.A. West Coast rap, thug life and Bloods and Crips and were you exposed to that life growing up, and did you partake? Were you part of that life?
Yeah, so absolutely. So growing up in the whole Oakland Bay Area, it's gangland, right? It's gang infested, whether it's divided by sectors, right? You're divided by blocks, you're divided by Northern Mexicans, Southern Mexicans, Bloods, Crips.
What nationality are you? I know you're Hispanic.
Mexican.
Mexican, okay.
Yeah. So obviously in my neighborhood was mostly Northern Mexicans. And that's all kind of we knew in that area. My parents were first generation coming from Mexico, so they weren't super involved and really tried to keep us out of the street. Growing up, I don't know, we might be similar, Tony, but I looked up to the gangbangers. I looked up to the drug dealers. I look up to the guy that shows up in a Mustang 5.0, with spoke rims and has that hot chick next to him. Like that's why.
And the Rolex and the money and the fat wad.
Yeah, it's just, that's what we've seen, right? So for me, I was always around it. But one thing about me, Tony, is that I never was forced to have to partake in anything. As far as me being initiated into a gang, I always had the respect of either like the OGs that looked out for me and were like, hey, they always seen I had something. Like I always was, like I was the guy, like if you wanted to break into a house, you would give me the house and I would think of the blueprint and like, we're going to go in here at this time and I would watch the house. Like, I was just analytical and like, they were like, okay, this guy's not going to be the one we're just going to send and become a target and he's done, right? He has a bigger purpose. Obviously it wasn't in a positive purpose, but, me growing up, now that I think back, I always had the respect and the admiration of the older guys that even though they were still involved in street culture, these were the guys that were calling out more bigger moves. And they would have an admiration of like, I think that they were just like, man, this kid is so like ahead of his time, And ever since I was young, I always had people that would follow me. And my artist name was David King. And the reason I got that name, David King, is because when I was in elementary school, I was already pretty tall. Like I'm almost 6'2" now, but I was already close to 6 feet when I was like probably going into middle school or like 6th, 7th grade. And I remember there was a substitute teacher. She comes out of the room and just sees me standing there and I have probably 10 kids around me. And she was like she made a joke and, he made a joke and was like, who are you, King David? And to me, at that point, it clicked like, okay, I have something. Mm-hmm. At that point for me, it was like, I'm going to become like a king in some type of street culture. Like I'm going to, build a system and put all my guys on. But then it started to become of like, hey, you have this, you're chosen by something bigger. I didn't know it at that time, but I just had this reassurance of like, I know I'm meant to be something bigger. I know I'm supposed to lead people. And one thing about me, Tony, is that I never made anyone that would follow me do something I wouldn't do myself, whether that was positive or negative. If I told you to jump in, best believe that I've already jumped in 3 times, or I'm going to jump in there with you and I'm going first. Mm-hmm. And I never had to pertain and get involved into a street gang, but I would have street gang members that would respect me and would involve me in things that were positive or negative, right? Because they knew that I was definitely not going to say no. I've always been really big on respect. So I've always been really big on trying to earn people's respect that I respect. So if I was an OG that had all the street, the respect of the community, for me, it was like, hey, like I'm first up to bat, like whatever you need, I'll do it, because I respect you and I want to earn your respect. So it wasn't easy. It was, man, a lot of street fights. I would cross the street, go to the liquor store, and there was a 50% chance you were going to get into a fight with someone. And I grew up in a pretty nasty environment. So my father didn't think I was his son. So he treated me like very badly growing up. And I learned to forgive him. So I'm just saying this for context, but yeah, he would lock me up in closets when I was like 5, 6 years old. And I faced a lot of trauma which affected a lot of my memory, a lot of like short-term or long-term memory. Sometimes it's just like, it's gone.
Yeah, you blocked it out.
I blocked it out. So, but one thing that did throughout my life now is that it made me the bully's bully. So when I see someone that needs help, like I'm jumping in. Whether I know you or not, if I see your energy is genuine and you're a good person, it doesn't matter if I see you out in a bar and like somebody's trying to pick a fight with you and you're with your girl, dude, I'm just jumping in because I could feel your energy and you're in the right place, you know? But yeah, so growing up, that made me violent. I had a very short fuse, and if you messed with anyone that was around me that I loved, it was like perfect green card. Like I'm gonna make an example out of you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, my dad trained me kind of like a pit bull. He would make me fight the kids from the neighborhood, and I loved fighting. Like I just love getting hit. I love hitting for sure, you know. And yeah, and just that was kind of what also gave me the reputation of like, hey, you go and look for it. This guy's it's gonna give you what you want.
Mhm.
And it also taught me a lot of valuable lessons, like getting punched in the face. I think every man needs to get punched in the face at least once, kind of feel that nickel taste in your mouth of like, damn,
Yeah.
that hurt, but it gives you that reality of like, there's people that are much, much stronger than you that could take your life with their bare hands if they wanted to. And I came to some close calls like that where, it made me respect. Like I've always been the type of guy where it's like, if you get me on a good one and a fair one, you got my respect. Like I probably needed that lesson to get humbled,
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a couple of situations where I got humbled. Couple situations, I mean, I've had a bullet fly a foot away from my head that could have been very close to my head, and that would have been a done deal. And just, got myself out of that environment and just seeing that there was something bigger and I needed to help people. And I'm super grateful for mentors that I've met along the way that have also come from street culture that have shown me that you can still have your respect in the street, but you can also change people's lives so they never have to get to that point.
Right. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I have a big I'm altruistic, I have this intrinsic motivation to do good and help people, right? I just want to help people. And that's one of the biggest things I think of why I kind of drift into high school boys ministry a little bit more than probably anything else. Or I enjoy it because, I don't mind helping people that have gotten themselves into some problems and troubles. And I don't mind helping them navigate that, but I would really like to help head that off. You know what I mean? Like I don't,
Yeah.
if it's too late, I get it. It's happen. I'll help you through that too. Cause I've been through it. Right. But man,
Yeah.
I think my oldest brother, I'm the youngest of 5. So I got one that's, 15 years older than me. And my dad was teaching one to drive and one to walk. And
Yeah.
he told me years ago, and I don't know, it's just always stuck with me that a smart person learns from his mistakes and a wise person learns from other people's mistakes. And
Absolutely.
it took me a long time to mature to really understand that because my ego wouldn't allow me to learn from other people's mistakes because I think that I'm better than most people, that I could fail.
Yeah.
I could fail less at what other people fail in. So I'm still going to try it,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
just full of ego, right? Like, man,
Yeah.
it's stupid. At one point I said, I was so full of myself. I said, man, if I ever die, put on my tombstone that I defied the odds. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I look back on that. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I ever could. That's so narcissistic and idiotic to even say such a thing. Like, why would you play against the odds? That's what the odds are, so that you can understand where the favorite's at, and
Yeah.
go the easier route where, statistically it's better to do it this way. And I wanted to go against statistics all the time and disprove, I had this thing to disprove everything all the time. It's like, well, what? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Why prove everything that's already been proven? Just do that. It's easier, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's like a chip on your shoulder, right?
for sure. For sure.
You know?
I think me being the youngest of 5, the next one up from me was 7 years older than me, and then they went up from there. And so it's like I never got a say in anything. My vote didn't count. You know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
so I was told myself, man, when I'm either gonna be famous or infamous. I'm gonna be somebody. And good, bad, or indifferent. I ended up being the only one in my family that went to maximum security penitentiary. So there you go. I earned my stripes.
Right.
Which probably wasn't the stripes I should have earned. So tell me, did you, in that life, man, did you catch any cases? Did you ever do any time? Did you evaded all that?
No, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have, now that I look back, is I had a higher power protecting me.
No
There was
question.
close calls. There was close calls. I mean, months before my daughter was born, I mean, we helicopter chase, they were looking for us, and it's just, we got into some stuff where it was that severe where helicopters looking for us and I'm trying to find a vehicle to pick up the rest of the guys. And in that moment in time, I'm thinking, I can be locked up until my daughter is an adult, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And, but one thing about me is if I plan to act, I also plan the escape route. I've
Mm-hmm.
never been a crash dummy. I was
Mm-hmm.
just, and if that doesn't work, there's plan A, there's plan B, and there's plan C,
Yeah.
but never any of those plans was a lack of loyalty. It's either we're all making it out, or if someone gets in, no one's talking. Like, that's just what but no, I was super fortunate to not have to, had to sit down and lose that time. But kind of like where you, Tony, it was like when I was growing up, I was like, it was almost like a stripe on, it was a stripe on your chest of like, I went and sat down for a couple years,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when you came out in any neighborhood, you come out, you come out with higher rank.
Cred.
So,
Yeah.
now you become, I would become those guys that I respected. I would have that respect now. So in a
Mm-hmm.
way, you're almost like, hey, if I have to go sit down, it's the same thing as being free, because when you're free, you have the ability to do whatever you want. But when you get out and you're high rank, you could also do whatever you want.
Yeah. Right. So it's a good trade-off, seemingly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It seems, when you're young and naive.
Yeah.
And I think one thing for me that I believe is that as men, we want respect. Like,
For sure.
when people ask me, do you want respect or you want love? Me personally, I'm always going to want respect before I want love. Because, it's, for me, it's, you can love me, but if you don't respect me, then, it doesn't, I don't know. That's, for me, is just, that's always been like my primary, like, that's like my love language, is to be able to gain the respect of the people I respect.
Well, I would probably go as far as to say that and I know they're independent of each other, and you're correct. Someone can love you but not respect you. But I think really at its core, if you're honest about it, love is respect and respect is love, right? It's if they're both completely genuine. If you say you love me, then you respect me. If you say you love me but you don't respect me, well, then you don't really love me. I mean, let's just call spade a spade, right? You care for me, you like me, but love's deep. Love's a true word. That's a deep
Right.
word, and it's then you attach unconditional to that, then it becomes even deeper, right? And so
Right.
I think you almost have to respect somebody to love them, or love them to respect them. So I don't just maybe a thought there, but so tell me, man, you don't just wake up one day and become a construction consultant. You don't go from the streets and robbing houses and doing things. Like, so what's that transition look like? How do you start getting yourself out of that life? And what's, maybe at that moment when you talked about, your daughter being young and you could go away till she's an adult, like that, maybe that starts the thought process. Tell me about that transition from the street life to doing things right.
I think for me, the first time that it actually clicked was when I held my daughter. I think when I held her as a baby, it changed. I wasn't as selfish anymore. To me, it felt now like, okay, there's someone that I got to take care of now. I still was doing a lot of stupid mistakes, throughout the years, but I think that was the first time that it clicked. And then after that, when I was in my early 20s, what's crazy is that I was from Northern California and I met this guy that was from Southern California. I was going to a community college. And I was trying to get a degree because, I was like, I got to give my daughter a better future. And I met this guy, Kevin, from Southern California, who I didn't want to talk to at all because I was like, I can't even talk to you. You're a Southerner. And he was super outgoing.
Norteños and Soreños, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he had sat down, he had served some time, and he came out and he was extremely himself. He's a goofy guy, but he went from being a gang member that was high ranked. I mean, he had the ink on him to show that he was high ranked. And he would instigate trying to talk to me because he knew he was bugging me, right? And he was like 10 years older than me. So he knew, he was like, this youngster doesn't even know what life is, right? So long story short, guys becomes my mentor. And he gives me the different books. And what he would do is he wouldn't say, hey, here, read this book. What he would do is he would leave the book in my apartment, and it would give me the curiosity to look at it. Right. Like he gave me the 4 agreements. He gave me mastery, 48 laws of power, manifestation. Is it manifestations by Marcus Aurelius? The way the superior man. Like he gave me all of these books that at the time I didn't understand, but even skimming through a couple pages, it clicked years later. And he was a big, big component of me changing my ways because again, I respected him. He was a high ranked member. I know he did a lot of crazy stuff in prison to be able to earn what he had. And he was taking the time to be like, hey, let me teach you the things that took me years of sitting down where now I can teach you these. And one thing he would tell me all the time is, hey, stop giving people your energy. And I didn't get it because I was like, leave that hippie stuff over there. Like,
Yeah.
don't tell me about, I don't want to hear about your energy. And he would tell me this a lot about women. Because growing up, that was one of my biggest vices was like, be with this one and this one and this one. And I felt when we grow up, it's like, hey, being with multiple women is like a rank of honor to us, right? And I was no different at that point. And he would tell me, stop giving them your energy. And I would say, how am I giving them my energy when I'm the one winning? And one day he told me, he was like, hey, when you're done in the act, do they want to come in and cuddle with you and give you intimacy, or do you want to give it to them? And I'm like, I'm like, hey, when are you leaving? Like, get away from me.
Mhm.
He was like, exactly. So they want more from you than you want from them. Therefore, they want more of your energy and you're just giving it away to whoever.
Mm.
Years later is when I was like, wow, like everything clicked and he poured so much into me. And one thing that he would tell me is like, one day you'll get it. One day you'll get it. And I used to get so mad because I'm like, why are you brushing me off like I'm dumb?
Right.
But he just knew that it would take me years for me to understand the nuggets that he was trying to give me. And he was a huge mentor of mine. And honestly, Tony, I'm super hard headed that I had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way.
Me too.
I've lost everything multiple times. I think some of my biggest lessons have been where I've gotten to such a dark place. I got to a point during COVID where I lost everything. I lost contact with my kids. Their mom told me they didn't want to see me. They didn't want anything to do with me. I lost my career. I was living in my youngest brother's house. I was sleeping in his spare room. So mind you, I'm here, one of the oldest, now sleeping in my little brother's house. And it got to a point where I was like, it's not even worth living. I can't see my kids. They hate me because that's what I was being told, right? Your kids hate you. I was like, if my kids hate me, then I'm basically a piece of, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, why even live? Like, this is miserable. Like, I'm in so much emotional pain. I didn't want to get up. I would forcefully get myself to the gym. And eventually I met one of my mentors, Wes Watson. And I met him like because I found him on YouTube. And he just like, I would listen to he would put up a new video every single morning. And I was in Tennessee at this point. So he was in San Diego. So by the time, he uploaded a video the next day, first thing I was doing is hearing it so I could get out of bed. And eventually one day I was like, I had like $3,000 left in my account. And I was like, I am going to travel cross country and I have to meet this man in person. And it got to a point, Tony, where I was like, if I meet him and this guy is not for real, like I'm done. Like I'm just out. Like I'm just taking myself out. Like I'm tired of feeling like this. And this had been for months, right? I was in such a dark place. I couldn't see anything but this. It was just poor me, miserable me, miserable me. And long story short, I was like, I'm gonna spend my last dollar, go meet this guy. If I go broke, it doesn't matter because I'm already broken.
Yeah.
And I fly to San Diego. I rent a car that was through like a Turo app because I couldn't even go to Avis because it was too expensive.
Nah.
So I rent this Prius where the locks didn't work. And my car ends up getting broken into and they stole all my stuff. So it was just like, what was so funny is that it took a turn where I was like, poor me, to where like, oh, this can't get any worse. This is comical, And I was like, but then it also clicked that if it's going this bad, is because the come up is going to be even better,
Mhm.
And then sure enough, I mean, I had 2 outfits. I show up to the gym. I know Wes Watson's going to be there because he posts this on his Instagram that he's at the gym every day at 4 a.m. I'm like, this is my last call. Like, this is my last salvation. Sure enough, he pulls up in the Rolls Royce and, he's posting on social media like he does, when I see it through the phone. And sure enough, I let him walk in. He starts to work out and then I just go walk up to him. broken, humble, don't know if I stink or not, because this is the second day that I wore the same shirt. And I'm just like, hey man, I just want to tell you, like, I just traveled cross country to come meet you. I've been listening to you for months, and I just had to meet you in person, man. And sure enough, like, Tony, this guy, he talked to me for like 20, 30 minutes, stopped what he was doing, stopped this workout, and literally was like, hey, what do you want to do? This is the way to do it. And what really changed my perspective is where he took his phone out and he opened up his Chase app and was like, this is one of my accounts. And he just had $1 million in his checkings account. And he was like, you can do this too. And he gave me life back. Like, he literally he turned the button on and like gave me the energy to be like, if he invested 20 to 30 minutes and he's a multimillionaire, I'm worth something. He sees something in me that I don't see in myself, and literally flew back. And I was just like, I don't have anything. I'm broke, but at least I have the gym, and it costs me $15 a month. I can afford that. And I'm just going to change my life around. And then sure enough, I think like 3 months later, I got back on track. 6 months later, Tony, I'm already in a high rise in Midtown Nashville.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why for me, I take it so personal, the mentorship where I mentor people, because somebody literally was my lifeline to me being like, I'm done. My kids can figure it out. They don't want to see me anyways. They hate me. I'm no good. I lost everything. My youngest brother now has to look at his older brother sleeping in his spare room. I'm alive because of that man. I owe him that, because he completely changed my life around. So I'm actually going to go fly and see him in Miami this weekend, because I invested in his mentorship program. And I just need to learn everything that he can teach me, because I want to be the reason somebody decides I'm not going to take my life away. I'm going to be there for my kids, and I'm going to be the best example for my kids.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. That's deep. That's deep stuff. So talk about that, suicide. Did you get as far as to like start thinking it through, like how you were going to do it, or did you talk about that?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I still remember the feeling. So I had this Glock 19, and honestly, it got to a point where I been put the magazine in and literally feel the cold Glock on your head. And then you're literally thinking, all it takes is just one little squeeze and it's done. And it's all done, David. It doesn't take that long, and it won't be painful. And it literally got to the point where I'm just like, I'm miserable. And that cold was like a reality of life and death, right? Because it's different. I mean, it's the same way of like somebody putting it on your head, and then you voluntarily put it on your head because you're like, I have the choice. I could end it all right now. And yeah, and I mean, I'm in this cold room. At least it feels like it, right? When you're in depression, it's like everything feels cold. The sun doesn't come out, right? The sun can't shine hot enough. And around that time too, I remember it was winter. So in Nashville, all the leaves have fallen off the trees. They're all naked, right? And in my mind, I'm like, man, this is so depressing. It almost feels like,
everything's lifeless at that point.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it almost feels, at that point, it almost feels like, oh, it's a sign. It's just, it's done. It's over. Why am I trying to see something that is not,
Yeah.
And it didn't help to be, so my brother is stationed in Clarksville, Tennessee at Fort Campbell. And for me, that town has such a dark energy. Like, I feel like military towns have this dark energy because there's so much loneliness and people overseas and fatality and suicide. And for some reason, I felt like that was taking the life out of me too. So also the importance of changing your environment and going somewhere where even if you're broke, at least it's sunny. At least I feel like there's life,
Yeah.
But yeah, suicide is a very real thing. And what people don't realize, and sometimes when I talk to some people that I coach and I mentor, they're completely surprised that somebody that now speaks so positive and moves forward at one point was like seconds away from being like, I'm done. This isn't worth it.
What stopped you in that moment? Why did you not pull the trigger? What was the little bitty pieces of threads of hope that you had? What was it? What was holding on?
Honestly, me listening to a video, and it's almost like Wes Watson was talking to me, and either he was on a podcast, and I think he was telling a story of one of the people that he coached, but essentially he was like, you're going to be a B, you're going to leave your family behind, you're really going to do that? Like, it's poor you. Like, you're literally going to be that less of a man that you're going to
Mhm.
run away from it. And I grew up tough love. I need someone to call me out, right? And be like, you're being a wuss. Like, you need to toughen up. You got to get it together. I heard that video, and that's when I looked at my checkings and I started booking my flights and kind of trying to figure out like how much it was going to cost me. And got the cheapest, 1.5 star hotel, and the flight that was going to take 15 hours instead of, 5 hours. And literally the power of someone telling you something through a phone that doesn't know you, that doesn't know you exist, that doesn't know you're in this small room in Clarksville, Tennessee. And he told me, you're literally going to leave your life behind. You're going to be a coward. You're going to check out. And from there, I was like, I at least got to go meet this man that is insulting me and
Yeah.
doesn't know me. You know what I mean? I at least have to look this man in the face as he insults me. And literally changed my life. It changed everything around.
It's huge. It's people want to talk down on social media and stuff all the time and all this stuff. I absolutely love it. I love it because it gives us a huge platform and a voice. And there's guys like you, man, at the moments away from pulling the trigger, and they're watching these videos looking for an ounce of hope. And somebody's going to hear this video. You know what I mean? I'll give you a point here at the end where to leave some message that's going to be long lasting. Because let's listen, man. We don't know how long these YouTube videos are going to play. They might play for the next 100 years. We'll be long gone. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
some kid, 100 years from now is going to be 12, 13 years old and see our video, maybe. Who knows,
Right.
But that's why I love these platforms. I think they're awesome. Anything in life, man, everything can be used for good or bad. It's all on how you spend it, man.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And to your point, even like, I think to myself, what drew me to someone like Wes Watson, right? And it went back to, it's a person that you admire, right? It's a person that has been through trials and tribulations, sat down for 10 years, came out multimillionaire because of positive things, right? Like, his big thing is discipline, sober. And the reason I attracted to that is because I'm attracted to discipline. I like true leadership. I have to listen to you. In order for me to listen to you, I have to respect you. Um, and then the thing too is that he had all the cool stuff. He had the car, he had the penthouse. One thing I think is also important is sometimes we think that having the materialistic thing makes us not humble. But the reality is we also have to put ourselves in that 15, 16, 18, 20-year olds brain. They like the cool stuff,
Yeah.
and they're going to gravitate towards you when they see you have things that they want. So I also think to that, for me, it's social media is a great way it can be very superficial, but sometimes you need that superficial content to bring them in, sit them down, and then, okay, let me give you the real nuggets now. Let me introduce you to something bigger than you could ever imagine. So social media is definitely, like you said, I love it because whether it comes with positive or negative, at the end of the day, when I get that one message, whether it's once a week or once a month, and they're like, hey, you changed my life,
Yeah.
it makes it all worth it.
Absolutely. 100%. I
So,
couldn't agree more. Yeah. So, it's funny you say that because I grew up, my dad was a barber. My mom didn't work. It was 5 of us kids, and we didn't, we were middle class and lower middle class. We didn't have anything. I mean, we didn't go without. My parents made sure we had clothes and, we were fed and all that stuff, but big houses, cars, I mean, none of that stuff. Right. And so obviously seeing that growing up, you always want that for yourself. Like, man, it'd be cool to have this and have that. And, now I've gotten myself into a position financially to have nicer things. And so I do. And I don't think that's a sin, right? That God
uh-uh.
says that he'll give us the desires of our hearts, and so I keep myself accountable with God. I kind of work out a deal with him.
Yeah.
I always tell him, hey, listen, if you continue to bless me and let me have these things that I desire, these worldly, earthly things, right? If I can
Yeah.
afford this house and these cars, and if I promise to you at every pass that I get an opportunity to use it to glorify you, I will. And
Yeah.
that's what I do. So when people are like, hey bro, man, what do you do for a living, man? How do you got all these nice things? Well, come here, let me sit down. Let me tell you a little bit about my life. And then I get a chance.
Absolutely.
It's that you're 100% right, man. It's
Yeah.
kids are drawn to that stuff, man. And you got to leverage that, man. You got to listen. There's a saying that we say in our church. I go to Life Church. Craig Rochelle's the pastor, and it's one of the biggest churches. I think it is now the biggest church in the world. It's 46, 47 locations across the country.
Wow.
It's amazing, right? But he says it all the time. One of our mottos of our church is that we'll do everything short of sin to lead people to Christ.
Yeah.
If tricking some kid to get attention by having a fancy car, it draws him in to have a conversation with me. That's not a sin, man. I'm using that car to bring him to hopefully maybe save his life. To tell him how, yeah. So that's that. Yeah, that I'm with you on that. That's cool. I'm glad you say that because I see you in that fancy old vet, and I know that. Hey, bro, how'd you get that vet? You're like, here, come here. Let me spit some game at you, youngster. Yeah,
Exactly.
gives you that
And I
chance.
mean, yeah, and I mean, I hop out. I'm tattooed, and they're like, well, what do you do? Right. A lot of the times, the first thing is you probably can't do anything that's positive to get that money. Right.
Yeah,
But then for me, it's when they ask me, well, what did you do to get it? No, it's who I became to get it.
yeah,
Right.
man. Yeah,
It's the discipline. And I'm the same way. So I actually prayed before I went and got the vet, and I just said, hey, God, if this is part of my journey, if this is part of a tool that I need to attract the world to give them your message, then please let it happen.
yeah.
And if not, I will be a little upset, but I will understand that it's not my time yet. And sure enough, everything went so smooth, Tony, that it was like God was like, it's your time. Like,
Yeah.
go for it. And I'm getting my license plate customized, and it's gonna say Es Dios. So it's God,
Yeah.
because I only got it because I was able to get the tools for me to become the version that I am now. And for me, it's this weird thing, Tony, where it's like, I feel like almost like your car has to reflect your current state in your life. Right.
That's good.
So for me, it's like the vet, I am in a position where I feel like it represents who I feel, right? Like the sporty, I drive in the convertible and I'm like, this is me. Like this feels like I've earned it upright. Like no one can take this away from me because I know I paid my dues and, I can drive that. And I feel as the levels go up, it's like, it's the environment around me will start to represent the work that I put into myself. So it's
Yeah.
the work instills the worth.
It's funny you're talking about praying. My the house that we live in, it's a custom home we built, and we were starting the project. I signed and bought the lot right before COVID hit, right? And I'm in the car business, and so we get the lot. I'm a little nervous, about because it's a pretty big step up from the other house that we were in, probably more than we probably should have done. Should have had one more step in between this one and the other one. But so we came over here. I will never forget. It was picture perfect. It was evening time, the moon, and I'm right on a pond. I'm in a neighborhood, but it's a little neighborhood pond. So my lot sits on the pond, and so we're up, and there's no house there, and we're standing on the dirt, and the moon is up, shining over the pond. It was, literally like a little Hallmark movie, right? And I grabbed my wife's hands, and we stand face to face, and we prayed together over the lot. And I said, but I get emotional when I tell this story because it's all come full circle. So I prayed and just said, God, we're stepping out a little bit here. This is probably a little bit more than we should, but if it's of you, let it happen. Because I'm stubborn, man. I'm also very, very hard headed, and even God's he's got to completely shut me down in order for me to stop. Right? I won't.
Yeah.
I don't take signs very well. I gotta have like a 2x4 smashed up. So, yeah, right.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, there is no option. Has to be my option. So anyway, so I was like, hey man, if this isn't for you, I said, but if you let this happen, I promise to you, at every pass, I will use it to glorify you, man. And I remember COVID hit, and we're staring off into the abyss in the car business, man. We're locked down, and then inventory starts getting short, and it's just like, oh man, I'm scared, right? I'm scared. Construction costs start going up and everything else. And then all of a sudden, just boom, the car industry just freaking gets crazy profitable. We're selling cars $10,000-$15,000 over sticker price. We're making, just the money was just incredible. My income went up, more than it ever had in the business. And all of a sudden it just starts becoming affordable. And then not only that, but what our original plans were to build the house, was able to even evolve. So we didn't have to make any shortcuts on the upgrades, and just the blessing upon blessing and timing. It took us
Yeah.
3 years to build this thing because it was through COVID and a lot of that stuff. But, we move into the house, and it's more, and that's how God is, right? He gives you
Yeah.
more than you ask for. If you ask for it in his name, he exceeds your expectations, right?
Absolutely. I love
Always
it.
does. And
I
so
love it.
I remember, man, at one point, because we serve on the youth group, but the church location that we go to is actually just a couple blocks, like a mile up the street from our house, and so we're big involved in the youth group up there. It's middle school through high school, and it's called Switch. That's the name of the group, Switch. And so every so often they'll do what's called Switch Out, where we don't go into the church, but somebody will host at their house. And I remember I hosted the high school ministry, the boys and the girls. So, I'm blessed. I got a nice, big, great room. I mean, it's the upstairs is big, and so we had like 40 kids in my living room, all spread out on
Wow.
couches at the bar, up at the island. And one of the kid breaks out a guitar, and we're worshiping a cappella. And
Awesome.
man. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm doing it, man. I'm doing what I said I would. And,
Good.
just
Good.
watching these kids praise Jesus in my home,
Yeah.
it was just cool, man. It was really cool. And so I remember that moment and how I felt in that moment, that I'm doing what I said I would, and I didn't necessarily always do that growing up, man.
Yeah.
I would make you think I was doing what I said I did, and I would probably manipulate the situation to maybe seem like I was doing what I said I would do. And, but I wasn't, man. I was living a big lie for a long, long time, until 10 years ago when I got sober. So,
Yeah.
so speaking of sobriety, I wanted to ask you, did you have a period in your life where drugs and alcohol were big consumption, or did you ever get into that, or what was your?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I was in the music industry, and I went and toured all over the country, and obviously that comes with a lot of alcohol, and it comes obviously with a lot of drugs. I got really big into more like ecstasy, that type of drug, because we would go do a show, and then after that we would either go to like the strip club, or we would just like go and have a party at a hotel.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just whatever was there. Alcohol was just a start. And then it would either be blow, or it would be, pills. And that's kind of like where I stayed in. I never really was like anything other than that. Never was really big on the blow. But for me, it was just more like, really, I was just chasing all uppers. Right.
Mhm.
And, yeah. And the, I've never, the thing about me is that I've never liked to be controlled by any substance. I don't like to be under control, period. Like, I like to be able to maneuver. So anytime that I felt that I would start to get like lenient or needing it, I would start to get away from it. Right.
Mhm.
But yeah, I had on tour, there was nights where you black out, you wake up the next day and you're just like, I don't know what those last 4 hours were,
Yeah.
just wake up in a different room. You wake up with people you don't know, and you're like, how did she get here?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, it's crazy. I actually had a crazy scare in Cabo. I got roofied, and woke up in my hotel, like, you know, stole all my stuff.
Yep.
I just blacked out. But yeah, so it's a lot in the music industry. I lived in Hollywood as well. It's really big there, right? Like, drinking and hitting a bump is no different than in the morning grabbing coffee, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's in the music industry, it's very hard to not get involved or participate, because it's everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And sometimes to perform, if you're going from one city to another city, it's like, man, I need an upper. Hey, let me pop this pill, or hey, let me hit this bump so I can get to the same level of entertainment, for the people that are coming out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, now, 3.5 months ago is the last time I had alcohol. I've been sober now, and I'm now starting to see now the way that I behaved when I was under the influence, right? And really start to see, okay, what are these people running from? Just because I knew I was running from something,
Yeah.
right? So what are these people running from? And yeah, and for me, it's goes back to also the mentor with Wes, where I never had an issue with alcohol. I would go drink. If I went out, I would go drink and get home at midnight, and I still would get up at 3 a.m. to go work out. Like I would still hold myself accountable to that, but I didn't feel good, you know,
Right. Yeah.
and I would still get through the workout. Cause in my mind, I'm telling my boys like, hey, you wanted to go drink, right? You wanted to go drink. Now you got to work out. So I've always held myself to that standard. But one thing that Wes said is you can handle it, but somebody that's looking up to you might not.
Mm, good.
You know, so that guy might go get a DUI. That guy might go wrap around his car around a light post because he was following you. And he thought as long as I drink and I work out, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. And I listened to my conscience and, you know, there's a saying that your conscience is the authentic voice of God. You know what's right, what's wrong in your core. And at that moment in time, I was just like, I got to stop drinking. It was one of the vices that I felt was like, as long as I drink a little bit, it's okay. It's normal,
Start
right?
rationalizing it.
Exactly. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I got to hold myself to a higher standard and I got to lead by example. So it goes back to the way that I followed the mentor that I have. Somebody can look at me and say, I will follow this person because they've done they've done the hard stuff. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's been 3.5 months now. I was just at a bar last night. One of my buddies, he's drinking. I'll usually have a mocktail or I'll have just like a soda water just so I feel like I'm drinking something.
Dude, I'm telling you right now. How old are you?
35.
Okay, you're younger than I am. I just turned 47 this week, but bro, I think me and you were like split at birth for real. You keep saying stuff. We're like identical, man. We
Awesome.
think and act, and it just yeah. I mean, it's so crazy how our lives are so parallel, and you know we're 15 states away or whatever. Yeah, it's just funny, man. Yeah, same thing, man. I like any kind of mocktails I get. They're always like ginger mocktail. I always like ginger of some sort.
Yeah.
I love ginger. But anyway, so well, that's good, man. I applaud you on that. That's good recognition there for sure, man. I'll tell you.
That.
Man, I tell people all the time because I don't want to ever put off this perception that I've arrived, man, that I got all my stuff together and then I'm, you know, here I am teaching and coaching and training people and mentoring people. And I think that, I know, you know, when I do these videos and these podcasts and my little clips in the morning and all the stuff that I do, I have to go back and listen to them and watch them as I edit them, right? I edit and put the effects, whatever, right? Well, there's something that happens in that moment is while I'm editing the video and adding the text overlays and all that stuff, the video's playing back. I'm listening to it. I hear it, hear myself. I feel like I'm doing God's work by doing some of this stuff. And so some of the times I'll listen back to these videos and I'm like, dang, that sounds really good. It like hits me, right? I get convicted by what I said, you know. I remember, so this is a funny story about accountability about that, right? Where people are watching, especially if you're putting yourself out there like this on social media and portraying to be somebody. Yeah, man, that you are somebody and people are watching. You're getting what you want, right? You got people watching you, but that guy's right. Somebody else watching you may not be able to handle all the things that you can handle. So you got to be careful. And so I just remember the accountability piece that this is giving me too by doing this Stronger Leader mission. Not only, you know, I got a 10-year-old son I know that watches every move I make. And so that's accountable enough, but I know there's a lot of people watching me, right? And I put myself in that position. I've got 300 employees at the car dealerships and then we've got the 4 med spas. I got a lot of people that not only depend on me, but are watching me. And then I got them naysayers in the outskirts that are waiting for me to mess up again. Right. So I got them watching me too. The haters are watching too.
All the time.
So I remember like probably it's been a couple of months ago. My wife, God bless her, man, she handles all the stuff with the kids. Sign up for the soccer leagues and order all their uniforms, and you know she handles all that stuff for me. And she was out of town with our daughter down in Texas at a volleyball tournament, and she was in one of the arenas and she wasn't getting good reception on her phone. She said, "Hey, I need you to get online and buy the kids soccer uniforms. It's the last day for some reason." And I guess I forgot to do it. I need you to do it for me. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm at work, but let me see if I can figure it out. So I get on there and the first thing I go to order, it's out. Like it's whatever. So I text her back. I said, hey, what should I do? This one is, it's out. Should I go to a bigger size or different color? Blah, blah, blah. She takes like 10 minutes to text me back. Right. And I'm trying to work. And then she finally so I go back in this thing and kicked me out. So I had to log back into this stupid shop and go back in. And then whatever she told me to do wasn't there again. I was like, hey, that's not available either. What should I do? And then another 10 minutes goes by. She doesn't text me. And I'm aggravated, right? I'm like, look, hey, I don't have time for this. I need you to you're sitting there watching volleyball doing nothing. Okay. You're just, and I understand. I don't mind helping you. Hold on to your phone for a second because I'm going to be texting you if this doesn't work. I need you to dialogue with me so I can get through this. Right. And she's like, sorry, I was watching the game. I said, it's okay. No big deal. Just keep your phone in your hand. So I go through, sure shit, man. I get railroaded again. This thing don't work. Now I'm heated, right? I text her. I said, babe, it's not working. What should I do? 5 minutes goes by. She don't text me. Now I'm in the stratosphere, right? I am pissed off. I type out this text. I'm literally like, cussing, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just, and dude, I read this text and man, one of the things I talk about being a man, the first thing I talk about being a man is taking care of your wife. Covet your wife. That's the most important relationship you have. Whoever your spouse, your girlfriend, whatever, that woman in your life, she's the most important. It's biblical. Right. Yeah. It's the most important outside of your relationship with Christ. The relationship with your wife is the most important. So, and I preach that and I teach that to guys all the time. You got to be humble, lay your life down for your wife, treat her like a queen that she is, but all that stuff. Right.
Uh-huh.
I say that stuff daily to people and I'm looking at this text and I was absolutely just disgusted with myself in that moment. I had extreme conviction. I'm like, I'm out here on social media telling all these guys to not do this stuff. And here I'm about to hit send on this text to my wife who doesn't deserve this. And I deleted the whole thing. And I was like, babe, listen, I know you're watching the game. I just really need your help for one more minute. Yeah, she did. And we worked through it, man. But I thought in that moment, it became a reality to me that all of this stuff that I'm doing with this ministry, it's just as good for me as it is for anyone else. And also it reminded me that, man, that's integrity, right? Is doing the right thing when no one else is looking. And I realized, man, no, there's my wife sure as hell wouldn't have shown anybody that text. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't have shown it. So it had just been between me and her and no one would ever, but I knew it. And that's the lesson. First of all, the vulnerability in that I share with people is that, man, I don't have it all together and I have moments of failure. I do. But if you can capture those moments as quickly as possible before they turn into complete failures, that's part of it, right? And that's emotional maturity and being aware. But secondly, man, share those. I think sharing those failures, right, in these moments like this are just as important. So guys know, man, I'm not this picture perfect dude out here that, went to prison and found Jesus and I got a great job and I make a bunch of money and my life is just all rainbows and butterflies. Man, I fail every day at something. I just try not to fail again at the same thing. And I try to minimize the failures. And listen, and where we're at in our lives being out here on scene like this socially, we got a target on our back. The enemy wants to shut us down as quickly as possible. I mean, you look at this Charlie Kirk deal. I don't care about all the conspiracy theories and all that, man. The enemy wanted to shut him down, period.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's, and they're going to come at us. Our most vulnerable ways. It's usually through our wives, through finances, through any way you can attack a man's credibility as a man. That's what the devil's going to come after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, so what are some of the things that you help guys with, that are going through those things, maybe that don't, first of all, how do you mentor a guy that's a guy's a bro. He's got an ego, prideful. How do you tell a dude, bro, you're being too proud. You're being a bully, basically, right? You're being a pig. How do you have that conversation?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've learned is in order to be able to coach someone, they have to be they have to want to be coached by you, right?
Amen.
So they have to be the ones that ask for the help. If not, everything that I'm putting on social media, hey, guess what? That's free mentorship. Whenever it finally clicks and you decide to say, hey, sometimes as men, we have too much pride. So sometimes the ask for help would be like a double tap. I like your story, or I send you a 100, or I send you a fire emoji. That sometimes is a man saying, hey, I'm vulnerable, but I'm not that vulnerable to say, hey, I need your help. Right. So usually I'll just, I'll send a message and say, hey, if you need anything with your nutrition, hey, if you need any advice, please, man, reach out, let me know. But I think the most important thing in order for me to be able to coach someone is that they have to respect me. They have to see something, whether it's my wake up time, whether it's the nutrition, whether it's the content, whether it's what I have materialistically, they have to see something that gravitates toward me where they'll at least pay attention. Right. Another very important thing too that I've learned the hard way is if they don't pay, they're not going to pay attention.
Mm.
So in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't have to be money. Maybe it's like, hey, you got to give me your word because I know you're trustworthy. You got to give me your word. You're going to do this for 30 days. Or, hey, you know what? If you failed and you owe me $500, you got to put a bet of $500 if you don't follow through. But most of the time, the most successful people is they got to pay something. Some people can afford, and it's got to be something that makes them feel like they're actually exactly right. Because the only times that I've taken my mentorship serious is when I'm like, that's a huge chunk of change out of that checkings, but it's got to happen, right? So biggest thing for me is as men, I think we respect discipline no matter what, right? So a lot of the way that I'm able to gravitate being able to coach men is by them seeing my wake up time, by them seeing me consistent with the workouts and stuff like that. And I'm also a coach that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. I've had guys that I mentor that are ex-felons, came out of prison, and I'm going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. And I know you're going to be very pissed off at me, but I am going to tell them to you because I genuinely care about you as a person. And I know nobody else is going to have the courage to tell you this because I'll go to a man and say, hey, you're just being a coward. You're running away from that problem. You're being a coward. Or you give me a million excuses. I will stop you and say, hold on. That sounds like an excuse to me. Oh, it's I don't have the time. That sounds like an excuse to me. And sometimes I sit with grown men that, it's that they have caused a lot of damage and have, probably done things that could put them in prison for life. And you're telling them, cut the shit, bro. You're making excuses. So that's where for me, it's when people come and they're like, hey, I'm sick and tired of being the way that I am. That's when I'm the best coach. Cause I'm like, hey, all right, let's work through this. We start with nutrition. We start physically because physically what I need to do is I need you to believe in yourself and I need you to admire the man that you see in the mirror. Cause if you don't respect you, they won't respect you, right? Your kids need to be able to see that superhero they know you can be. Because when we were kids, we looked up to superheroes and none of the superheroes look like the average man that we see today in America, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're being honest and we take our ego away, we know what we like when we were kids. It hasn't changed much. The only thing is that now we cover it with excuses and we cover it with, I don't want that anymore. But the reality is most of the time, that's what you admire. And sometimes that's what we hate on because we know we admire it and we haven't obtained it. Mm-hmm. Right. So the thing for me is let's get your nutrition right. Let's get you to respect yourself. And that starts with every single decision that you take. And what better way than you have 5 meals a day and you have 5 wins that you could accomplish every single day? What happens when you accomplish 100 wins? How do you feel about yourself? Mm-hmm. Now you're on cloud 9. You're like, how could I ever put myself back into that low frequency again? Now that my wife looks at me and she's just like, look at this stud. Yeah. Like he holds his word. He respects himself. Your wife is going to respect you at a whole different level when she knows you respect yourself at a whole different level. Right. Yeah. So for me, it's like you can see, and I know you're very in tune, but you can see when a woman respects their husband. They look at him a different way. They look at him like, man, look at this. When he speaks, like I remember like going to mentors and like, if he's speaking and his wife's just admiring every single word he is saying, because who knows you better than the woman that sleeps with you every night. Right. Versus I've been through other seminars and masterminds where the guy's speaking, the woman's not even looking at him. She knows in the back of her mind, like, you're not that guy. Mm-hmm. You're just a salesman, you know? So the way you change a man is when a man gets to that rock bottom and needs that help, I want to be in that position where that man looks at me and is like, even if you're, 30 years younger than me, 20 years younger than me, 10 or older than me, there's a nugget that I can give you and you can learn and that's it, but that's how you're able to change a man. I think a man has to hit rock bottom and realize that he can't do it on his own. And God will put you in that right position to be able to coach that person. And it's up to us to go and take that initiative to say, I know you need help. I'm going to help you out and I'm going to teach you because the best coach is the one that has made 1,000 mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell everybody, man, I can give you a really good roadmap of how I got here. it's going to look really twisty and turny. You know, I'm gonna tell you, don't go the same direction. I'm not going to give you the directions the way I went. I'm going to give you different directions.
Right.
Yeah. So I could tell you more about what not to do just because of, yeah, for sure.
The same way.
Yeah, that's a good word, man. You know, I just think it's so important that, man, as you're stepping out into mentoring and well, you know, here, listen, there's a guy, I had a little bit of a heartbreak, man. There was a young guy that worked for me. I won't say his name or whatever, but I ended up having to terminate him. And he had asked me, you know, he's grew up in less than favorable environments and had the cards he were dealt sucked. I'll just call it that, right? And he was definitely on a path to making something of himself and struggling with some things. And I mentored him a little bit, and he broke down. You know, he's a pretty hardened street kid, you know. And he asked me, man, would you mentor me? I said, yeah, absolutely, I'd mentor you, you know. And then some time went by, and his behaviors didn't get better, and I ended up having to terminate him. And he was shocked, right? Because he thought I was his boy, right? Because I would mentor him. And I said, dude, I love you. I thought you cared for me when I fired him. I said, that's why I'm firing you. Because I do care for you. And I don't think that if I allow these behaviors to keep on going, I'm not doing any good for you. And he's like, man, hey, man, because now he's attacking me, right? Man, in all fairness, man, you ain't shit, because I asked you, you know, you want to all out here do all these videos and stuff, and I asked you for help to mentor me. And you ain't done shit for me. And I'm, man, it hurt, right? Because I hadn't done anything for him, right? And so it was heavy. And I talked to a couple people about it. I was like, man, he did say, because, you know, somebody called me, how'd your day go? Pretty tough day. I was like, yeah, man, tough day. I said, this is what happened. And the person I was talking to was like, hey, man, you gave the kid an opportunity. I mean, you could have fired him the last time, and you relocated him, gave him a shot. You have been there. And he goes, and plus, has he called you? Has he reached out to you for help, for guidance? Does he call you and ask you questions? And have you not answered his call? I said, no, none of that. I just haven't been by there I haven't, put forward the effort to spend time. It's not your job. If somebody wants to be mentored, they call you. And I
Absolutely.
thought, and it really, cause I'm early on in this phase of my life with all this stronger leader stuff. I just started in April, you know, and so I'm really getting into it more. And I needed to hear that, man, because gosh, dude, there's a lot of people that have asked for my help and have never called me again, right? And I wear that heavy because sometimes I'll be, you know, I'll think about them. I'll shoot them. Hey, man, I heard from you while you're doing good. And the longer I get involved in this, I'm going to have thousands of people that I'm going to have to remember to text to check on.
Right.
But I'm like, I can't do that. That ain't my lane. It ain't my lane to check on people if they're not checking on themselves with me. They got to check in with me. You know,
Exactly.
not that I'm the high and mighty, but if you're seeking me out for mentor, call me. You got to call me, text me, seek me out. I will. And that's kind of what, like, okay, here's my give then. I promise that if anybody calls me, I will find time for them. I will make time for that phone call, or I will return every text message or every inbox message I get. I will always be available for somebody that reaches out to me. And that's my trade-off, right? And that's, man, I had to learn that. That was a tough lesson, because I hate, because he was right. I hadn't mentored him, but I figured out, somebody put a good word in my heart that wasn't my job.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you bring up that point, because right now you're the source, right? So if you're the source, there has to be a certain level of respect for your time, for your energy. And sometimes people want to draw so much from you where you're like, did you think I was just going to give you all of my resources and all my energy? What about all these other people? All these other people that actually call me, all these other people that are actually victims, you're not. So I've learned that the hard way, because especially with coaching, you invest and you pour and you pour and you pour, and you see people just kind of give up on themselves. And you're like, I can't believe in you, man, if you don't believe in yourself. Right. And especially, like I tell you the story, I went from Nashville to San Diego and spent my last dime because I wanted mentorship. Right. So if somebody wants it that bad, they're going to find you, but they're also going to respect the fact that you can't give them all your time. Right. For me, I follow my intuition. If I get that one message that just felt like, okay, this guy's in a dark place, I'm going to go ahead and send him some advice. But one thing I don't do, Tony, is if you come back third message, fourth message, five message, and you're still a victim, hey, buddy, what you're looking for is pity. I don't give that. I give coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's people that will literally, they're energy vampires. Right. It's like, hey, like, look, I'll give you 3 steps, man. Follow those 3 steps and then come back for the fourth, fifth, and sixth. But if I give you 3 steps, you did one and it didn't work out, and now you want this instant gratification, I can't do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes people also, they want to be in your environment, they want to be close to you, right? But energy is contagious. I can't have you around me if you're only taking from me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who's going to power me? You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, it's what's the exchange? I'm going to help you out, but do you at least bring good energy? Do you promote my stuff? Do you support my content? Because I'll go out of my way for someone that's, they're always supporting everything I do. It's genuine energy. Like, hey, I owe you that favor of giving you some coaching. But I've learned that if you don't want to help yourself, then I can't help you. There's got to be something in exchange. Unless I can truly see that you're in a dark place, like it almost feels like God's like, hey, help this guy. Like this guy needs help,
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
for sure. Man, that's good stuff, bro. That's good stuff. I love what you're doing. We got to keep collaborating and keep doing more. There's a purpose, man. I don't believe in coincidences. There's a reason what we got introduced, and I think there's
Absolutely.
a lot more we got going. You're in Reno now, right?
Yeah.
You're in Reno? Yeah. Yeah. So good. Got good weather.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's honestly, that's what I love about Reno. 4 seasons, weather's great, but I got to come out there.
For sure.
See you and Trav. How far do you guys live from each other?
Not far at all, like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. We got to make that happen.
100%.
Do a in-person collab.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yep.
Yeah. Travis got these grandiose visions for us, getting out on some world stage together and help, whatever. I'm not going to put God in a box. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's what he wants for us. And that's what'll happen. But yeah. So, all right. So, man, this is a part of the show where a couple of speed round questions just for fun. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Morning or night person? I know this one.
Morning.
All right. What sports did you play growing up?
Played football and soccer.
Who's your favorite fighter?
Favorite fighter, I would have to say Nick Diaz.
Nick, ooh, yeah, that's a good one. If you were a fighter, what would be your walk-up song?
Right now, one of my favorite songs is called Pieces on My Neck. The bass on it is ridiculous.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, that would make me crush some skulls.
I love it, man. Well, dude, listen. All right, so this is the last part where because these things perpetuate into eternity. Maybe who knows how long this is going to go. I want to know, like, if this is your opportunity to leave a message for the future generations to come. What's wisdom do you want to leave with the future generation? Give us a word that will carry on for generations. Some good piece of sound advice that anybody could use.
Honestly, Tony, what I would say is the situations and circumstances that you are born into, sometimes they are not, most of the time, it's not your choice. You are born into something. You are born to certain resources and environment. Those hard times that you're going through, if you're hitting that wall that is meant for you to learn something, that is meant to be part of your journey, always look at your life like there's a camera watching and there's somebody waiting for that underdog to just get out of that rut, to get out of that depression, to get out of those suicidal thoughts. There's something bigger than you. There's a bigger purpose in you. And the tougher the battle, that's just because that documentary is just about to get so much better. So what I would say to my younger self or to future generations is your life is a movie. You are the director. You choose how you want it to end. And every single chapter is not going to be an easy chapter or a happy chapter. When they're tough, know that you're going to learn something. And when it's a good chapter, enjoy the hell out of it because you deserve it. And other than that, at the end of the day, you are the director of your movie, which is your life. And I would literally leave it at that.
That's great, man. I love that. Yeah, I always tell everybody, man, if where I'm at now, I'm content. I'm not complacent. I'm content. I'm pleased with the steps that God's ordered for my life. Been tough, but look where I am. God's blessed me tremendously. Sometimes we look off into the future or we wonder how things could be, or you just got to trust, man. Trusting God's plans are better than ours, and he's got a plan for us, and because listen, I just turned 47. So when I started becoming of age, and I was 10 or 11 years old, if God would have thrown me the book and said, "Hey, here's what your life's going to look like, for the next 35 years," I would have handed it back and said, "No, thanks. I'll do something different."
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There ain't no way I would have been okay with all the shit that I went through.
Yeah.
I would have said no. And that's why we don't know what the future holds, because we're not equipped to handle God's plans, man. We're not equipped to handle
Right.
that. Say, "Hey, man, listen, you're going to go maximum security penitentiary for a few years, but you're going to be all right." I've been like, "No, I'm out. No, thank you."
Right. Yeah.
I like my freedom.
Yeah.
I would have said no. I would have said no to
Yeah.
God's plans, and I would have chose something different, and I would have missed out on where I'm at right now. And I'm
Yeah.
so blessed, man. I'm so blessed. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, my man. Well, listen, let's keep in touch. Let's keep spinning,
Yeah.
and we'll keep chatting. And I'm following you. I got a front row seat at your deal. So, I'll be
Absolutely.
watching you.
Yeah. Tony, before we wrap up, man, I want to give you, I feel like we have to give the flowers when they're deserved and they're earned. And like I said, what you're doing, you can feel it through the screen. You can feel that energy through the screen. You could tell you do it because you want to serve. And I think that's what's making you look so competent behind the camera and is making it seem like you've been doing this for years, because it's a genuine organic energy that you're pushing out. Like you said, there is no coincidence that we met, that Travis said, "Hey, these two guys are going to be able to mesh and collaborate." And I just want to I want to salute you for what you're doing. I could tell you come with a story, and we've spoken about that, and nobody's perfect. And I think me and you have accepted that, but we also have accepted the accountability that we change and we can help others change. And I see that with you, and I really salute you and your family values and the way you carry yourselves. This is a great podcast. And again, I appreciate the invite to it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I love you, pal. Man, keep
All right,
doing
love you
what you're
too, man.
doing, man. All right, I'm gonna do my little outro here.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of another Stronger Leader podcast, man. My man, David Ruiz, also known as David King David up in this joint. Man, it's been real. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep crushing it. Listen, man, if you guys are out there, listen, follow him on official David King on Instagram, right? And you know what? I'm going to go through and I'm going to find the links and everything to all your stuff, and I'll link it in the bottom of this, in the description. So you'll be able to find him. So follow this guy, man. He's got some good stuff. But as always, man, be good, be blessed, and be stronger. Peace.
Peace.